I'm Olivia. This is Rewind Justice. Real stories, real drama, real satisfaction. Subscribe and let's get into it. The restaurant had those high ceilings that made every sound echo. Silverware clinked against plates. My parents sat across from Emily and me, both of us still wearing our graduation gowns from the ceremony that morning. Same university. Same stage. Different worlds. Dad cleared his throat and slid a thick envelope across the white tablecloth to Emily. "Congratulations, sweetheart," he said. His voice had that warm tone I'd heard directed at her my entire life. "Your mother and I are so proud." Emily opened it. Her hands trembled slightly. Inside was a check. I couldn't see the amount, but I watched her eyes go wide. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Dad, Mom. This is double quotes. $150,000, Mom said, reaching over to squeeze Emily's hand. "For your house down payment, you've worked so hard." "You deserve this." Emily started crying. Happy tears. The kind that come easy when life keeps handing you things. I sat there, hands folded in my lap, waiting. The sun through the window was merciless, bright and hot against the side of my face. Mom turned to me. She picked up a small card from beside her plate. "We got you something too, dear." She handed it across the table. A $10 Starbucks gift card. I stared at it. The plastic felt cheap in my fingers. "Thanks," I said. My voice came out flat. "You're so strong, honey," Mom continued. She had this smile that looked sympathetic but wasn't. "You don't need help like Emily does. You've always been the independent one. You'll figure things out." "You always do," Dad nodded. "It builds character. Struggle makes you appreciate success more." Emily wouldn't look at me. She tucked the check into her purse like she was protecting treasure. "Besides," Dad added, cutting into his steak, "we put our money where it brings returns. Emily's been responsible. She's proven she can handle this kind of investment." The implication hung in the air like smoke. "You're the failure. We invest in winners." I didn't say those exact words out loud, but I heard them anyway. 22 years of hearing them in different forms. You could translate my parents' language by now. I set the gift card on the table. Stood up. The chair scraped against the floor. "Where are you going?" Mom asked. "We haven't had dessert yet." "I'm done," I said. I walked out of that restaurant. Out of that conversation. Out of their lives. The pattern had always been there. I just hadn't wanted to see it clearly until that moment. When I was 10, I won 3rd place at the regional science fair. My project on water filtration had taken me 3 months. I'd used birthday money to buy supplies. When I brought the ribbon home, Dad glanced at it and said, "That's nice." Then went back to watching Emily's soccer practice video for the 4th time. Emily had scored 1 goal that season. They framed her jersey. My ribbon went in a drawer. When I turned 13, they threw Emily a huge Sweet 16 party 3 years early. 200 guests. A DJ, catered food. They called it a milestone celebration. For my actual 13th birthday 2 months later, we went to a chain restaurant. Just the 4 of us. They split a dessert with Emily and forgot to order me one until I asked. "You're not big on sweets anyway," Mom had said. I wasn't. But that wasn't the point. At 16, Emily got a car. Not new, but reliable. A Honda with working air conditioning. I got added to the insurance on Dad's old truck that barely ran. I had to pay my portion of the insurance. Emily's was covered. When I asked why, Dad said, "You need to learn responsibility. We're doing you a favor." College was when the gap became a canyon. They paid Emily's tuition in full. State school, all 4 years. Room and board. Textbooks. Spending money. I got into the same university. Better grades. Higher test scores. 3 scholarship offers, but none that covered everything. "We can't afford 2 tuitions," Dad explained. "You understand, right?" Emily's struggling more. She needs the support. You're smart. You'll find a way. I found 3 ways. 3 jobs. I worked the campus library Monday through Wednesday. Waitressing Thursday through Saturday. Overnight cleaning crew at an office building on Sundays. I slept when I could. Ate when I remembered. My grades stayed high because failure wasn't an option when you were paying for every credit hour yourself. Emily changed her major 4 times. Failed 2 classes. Took 5 years to graduate instead of 4. They never said a word about the wasted tuition money. I graduated in 3.5 years. Early. With honors. With $17,000 in debt that I'd kept as low as humanly possible. At every turn, their justification evolved, but the message stayed the same. You're so capable. You don't need us. This is actually good for you. Emily needs more support. The translation. You're the backup child. The one we'll acknowledge when it's convenient. Emily is the investment. You're the tax write-off. So when they handed Emily $150,000 and gave me $10 for coffee, I finally heard what they'd been saying all along. I wasn't their daughter. I was their proof of concept for self-sufficiency. I left that night. Packed my apartment in 4 hours. Everything I owned fit in my 12-year-old sedan. I drove north out of Phoenix with no plan except distance. I ended up in Portland because my car started making a noise near Medford and I didn't trust it to go farther. I found a motel that rented by the week. $280. Brown carpet. A window that looked at a brick wall. A bathroom where the shower pressure was either scalding or frozen. It was mine. I had $4,000 in savings. My library science degree. 3 jobs worth of work ethic, and nobody's expectations but my own. The first month was brutal. I applied to 73 jobs. Got 12 interviews. 4 offers. Took all 4. Morning shift at a bookstore. Afternoon data entry at an insurance company. 3 evenings a week bartending. Weekend freelance work building basic websites for small businesses. I slept 5 hours a night, ate rice and eggs. Walked everywhere because gas cost money. My hands were always moving. Typing, pouring, scanning, building. I didn't call my parents. They didn't call me. Emily texted once. Mom's upset you left. Can you just apologize? I blocked her number. 3 months in, something shifted. A regular at the bar, Margaret, 67, former software engineer, saw me coding on my laptop during a slow Tuesday. What are you building? She asked. Inventory management system. For the bookstore. Their current one is from 1997. She laughed. Mind if I look? I showed her. She pulled up a stool. Started asking questions, not condescending questions. Real ones. About architecture, about scalability, about what I was trying to solve. You're good at this, she said after an hour. Like, actually good. Not good for someone who taught themselves good. Just good. She came back the next Tuesday. And the next. Started teaching me things. Modern frameworks, clean code principles. How to think about problems like an engineer instead of a hobbyist. I'm retired, she said. Bored as hell. You're smart and you listen. I miss teaching. This works for both of us. By month 6, I quit 3 of my 4 jobs. Kept the bartending for steady money, but spent every other hour building. Margaret introduced me to her former colleagues. Small contracts at first. A website redesign here. A database cleanup there. The money was better. Not good, but better. By year 1, I'd moved out of the motel into an actual apartment. 1 bedroom. Working heating. A kitchen where all 4 burners functioned. I met Daniel at a tech meet Margaret dragged me to. He was a UX designer. Quiet. Asked no questions. Didn't try to explain my own code back to me like some guys did. We got coffee. Then dinner. Then he was at my apartment 3 nights a week, bringing takeout and asking if I needed help testing interfaces. Your family ever visit? He asked once. Don't have family, I said. He didn't push. By 18 months, I'd landed a contract with a mid-sized logistics company. They needed someone to rebuild their entire tracking system. The kind of project that would take 6 months and pay $60,000. I took a leave from bartending. Rented a co-working space. Lived on that project. Margaret reviewed my code every week. You're ready for something bigger, she kept saying. Stop thinking small. The logistics company loved the system. Referred me to 2 other companies. Suddenly I had more work than I could handle alone. I hired 2 other developers. Freelancers I'd met through Margaret's network. We called ourselves Wayfinder Labs, not a real company yet. Just a name on contracts. By 2 years, we were a real company. LLC paperwork filed. Actual office space and a converted warehouse. 8 employees. Contracts with 3 Fortune 500 clients. Revenue that made my bookstore salary look like a rounding error. I bought property. 47 acres outside Portland. Lake access. Forest. Mountain views. The kind of place I used to dream about when I was sleeping in that motel with the brick wall view. I hired architects, builders. We designed a house that looked like it grew out of the landscape. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Sustainable materials. Solar panels. Rainwater collection. It cost $4.8 million to build. I paid cash. The sign at the gate was simple. Wayfinder Retreat, private property, L. Chun, owner. My full name. Right there on Custom Ironwork, I moved in on a Tuesday. Daniel helped me unpack boxes. We christened the kitchen by burning pasta and laughing about it. You did this, he said, standing at the window that overlooked the lake. 2 years ago you were in that motel. Yeah, I said. I didn't think about my parents much anymore. Not in the way I used to. Not with that ache of wanting them to see me, to acknowledge me, to finally say I'd been worth it all along. I just didn't think about them. Emily called them first. I didn't know this until later, but apparently she'd been driving to a property viewing her house. The one my parents' money bought was in foreclosure and took a wrong turn down a private road. She saw the gate, saw the name, called Dad. Dad! You need to come here right now. That's what she screamed into the phone, according to what they told me later. They came, both of them. Drove an hour from where they were visiting Emily to see what the emergency was. They stood at my gate. Emily was pacing. Mom had her hand over her mouth. Dad pressed the intercom button. Hello? My voice came through the speaker. Calm. I was making dinner. This is Robert Chen. I think there's been a mistake. This property says, no mistake. I said, can I help you? Silence on their end. This is Emily. My sister's voice cut in. Sharp. Confused. Your sister. What the hell is this? Whose house is this? Mine. That's not funny. Whose is it really? Mine. I built it. I own it. Is there something you need? More silence. We're coming up, Dad said. Not asking. Stating. I thought about it. Press the button again. No. We're your parents. Mom's voice now. Strained. Let us in. Why? That stopped them. I could see them on the security camera. Dad's face was red. Mom kept looking between the house, visible on the hill through the trees, and the intercom like it might explain itself. Emily was crying. Because we need to talk to you, Dad finally said. About what? About this. About where you've been. About why you never told us. Told you what? That I figured it out? That I didn't need your money. You said I was strong, independent, that I'd be fine. I am. Don't be dramatic, Mom said. That phrase. The one I'd heard 1,000 times. We're concerned. Were you concerned 2 years ago? When I graduated. Silence. Were you concerned when I was working 3 jobs? When I was sleeping 4 hours a night to pay for school? When you gave Emily $150,000 and gave me $10 for coffee? That's not fair, Emily said. They were helping me. They were helping you. Yes, I noticed. Dad's voice hardened. We're not doing this through an intercom. Let us in or we're calling who? This is private property. I'm asking you to leave. A car pulled up behind theirs. Daniel, coming back from town. He parked, got out, walked to my family. Can I help you folks? He asked. Polite. Calm. We're trying to see our daughter, Mom said. She won't let us in. Daniel looked at the camera. I told him some of it. Not all, but enough. The property owner asked you to leave, he said. I'd suggest you do that. Who are you? Dad demanded. I'm the person suggesting you leave before this becomes a problem. They stood there for another minute. Then they left. But they came back. Next day, Mom and Emily. Day after, just Dad, then all three. They called. I didn't answer. They emailed. I didn't respond. On day 6, they showed up with a sheriff's deputy. I met them at the gate this time. Walked down in jeans and a sweater. It was October. The leaves were turning. The deputy looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, these folks say they're your parents. Say there's a family emergency. There's no emergency, I said. They're not welcome here. We just want to talk, Mom said. She looked older. Smaller than I remembered. Please, honey. We're worried about you. Worried about what? About how you... Where did this money come from? Dad, suspicious now. This kind of property... This house? You didn't have anything 2 years ago. I built a company, I said simply. We design logistics software for corporations. We have 32 employees. Last year's revenue was $8.3 million. This year we're projected to hit $14 million. I own 60%. I paid cash for this property. Their faces went through a series of expressions. Confusion, disbelief, shock. That's not possible, Emily said. You were a library science major. I was. Then I learned to code. Turns out I'm good at it. The deputy shifted his weight. So, there's no emergency? No emergency, I confirmed. Ma'am, do you want these people to leave? I looked at my parents, my sister. They looked desperate, lost. Yes, I said, I do. The deputy nodded. Turned to my family. You heard her. Time to go. Wait, Mom said. Please. We made mistakes, we know that, but we're family. We should... Family, I repeated. The word tasted strange. You gave Emily $150,000. You told me I was strong enough to figure it out alone. I did. That's what you wanted, right? For me to prove myself? That's not what we meant, Dad said. Then what did you mean? He had no answer. We thought... Mom started again. We thought you'd always be there. In the background. You were always so capable. We thought we could focus on Emily because you didn't need us. You were right, I said. I didn't need you. I don't need you. Don't say that, Emily said. She was crying again. We're family. You can't just... I can. You need to leave now. I walked back up the driveway. Didn't look back. The consequences came fast. Emily's house went into foreclosure within a month. Turns out she'd been using the property as collateral for a business loan that went bad. Her boutique, the one my parents had also loaned her money for, had never turned a profit. She'd been drowning for 18 months, hiding it, hoping something would save her. She thought that something might be me. My parents had co-signed. Their credit tanked when Emily defaulted. They'd been planning to ask me for money. I learned later. Had been working up to it. Thought if they could just talk to me, just explain, I'd help, because that's what I did. I figured things out. I solved problems. I was strong. Dad had to take a job at a hardware store. Mom went back to teaching elementary school. They sold their house, the one I'd grown up in, and moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. Emily moved in with them. Her husband had filed for divorce. Something about the financial lies. The debt. The fact that she'd been calling her sister a failure while drowning in her own failures. The calls kept coming. Voicemails piled up. We need to talk about this like adults. You're being unreasonable. Family. Helps family. What kind of daughter abandons her parents? We're going to lose everything. Please. We're begging. I listened to exactly one of them. The last one. Mom's voice, broken and desperate. I don't understand. We gave you everything we could. We raised you. Doesn't that mean anything? Doesn't that earn us something? I deleted it. Margaret came over one evening. Brought wine. We sat on my deck watching the sunset over the lake. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. I am. They still calling? Less now. I changed my number. She nodded. Sipped her wine. You know what I see when I look at you? What? Someone who decided she was enough. All by herself. That's rare. The sky was doing that thing it does in October. All orange and pink and purple. The air smelled like pine and clean water. I framed something, I said. I went inside, came back with a small frame. Behind the glass was that $10 Starbucks gift card. Margaret laughed. Perfect. Reminder, I said, of what they thought I was worth, and what I actually was. And what was that? Everything, I said. Just not to them. The wine was good. The sunset was better. Daniel was coming over later with Thai food. I had a meeting in the morning with a potential client worth $500,000 in contracts. My company was hiring 2 more developers. My house was warm. My bed was comfortable. My life was mine. For the first time in 24 years, I felt light. 6 months later, Emily tried one last time. Showed up at a tech conference where I was speaking on a panel. Waited until I was alone. Please, she said. Just talk to me. What would you like to talk about? How you did this? How you ... I don't understand. You had nothing. I had myself, I said. Turns out that was enough. Mom and Dad are struggling. Really struggling. I know. And you don't care? I thought about it. Really thought. I care that people are struggling, I said. But they made choices. They chose to invest everything in you. They chose to tell me I was strong enough to handle nothing. They were right. I was. I did. So you're just going to let them lose everything? They already lost everything, I said. They lost it when they decided I wasn't worth anything. That was their choice. These are the consequences. That's cruel. No, I said. Cruel is telling your daughter she's a failure while handing her sister 6 figures. Cruel is making someone work 3 jobs while paying someone else's way. Cruel is expecting gratitude for neglect. I'm not cruel. I'm just done. She stood there, tears on her face, mascara running. I'm sorry, she finally said. I'm sorry we treated you that way. I'm sorry I let them. I'm sorry I didn't see it. Okay, I said, is that it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? That it's fine. That we can start over? It's not fine. We can't start over. You were part of every single moment they chose you over me. You watched them give you everything and give me nothing. You cashed their checks. You lived in their house. You benefited from every choice they made. You weren't innocent. You were complicit. I was their daughter, she whispered. So was I said. But only one of us was treated like it. I walked away. I think about that sometimes. The word family. What it means. What it's supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean people who see you. Who value you. Who invest in you not because you're the easy bet but because you matter. My family wasn't that. But Wayfinder Labs is. Margaret is. Daniel is. The 32 people who work for me, who I make sure are paid well and treated better. The clients who trust me with their problems. The life I built with my own hands. That's family. On Sunday mornings, I make coffee in my kitchen, the one with windows that overlook the lake, and I don't think about what I missed. I think about what I built. I think about that motel room with the brick wall view. About Margaret seeing something in me that my parents never looked for. About every invoice I paid, every contract I signed, every line of code I wrote at 2 a.m. I think about choosing myself when nobody else would. And I'm at peace. If you've ever been the child who figured it out alone, who was told you were strong enough to be ignored, who built something beautiful from nothing and were expected to share it with people who gave you nothing, I see you. Your strength wasn't because they made you strong. You were always strong. They just refused to notice until it benefited them. You don't owe them your success. You don't owe them your peace. You earned both. Share your story. You're not alone. And you're worth more than they made you believe.